Hey historians, I'm Abby.
And I'm Sophie.
And today we are going to be discussing the inventor of the Super Soaker. You may be wondering what an inventor is, and an inventor is someone who thinks of and creates new things. But you also may be wondering, what is a Super Soaker? A Super Soaker is a water gun that can shoot water really far, fast, and accurately. The inventor of the Super Soaker was an African-American man named Lonnie Johnson. Today, we are going to be talking about his inspiring life and the revolutionary ideas he continues to think of.
Lonnie Johnson was born in Mobile, Alabama in 1949. Lonnie's dad was a truck driver for the U.S. Air Force. As a kid, Lonnie always repaired things with his dad in the house, and he watched his dad work on his car. Lonnie liked to build his own toys. He turned bamboo tubes into China berry shooters and put a lawnmower motor on a go-kart to make it go faster. He also liked to experiment with rockets. Lonnie found a recipe for rocket fuel in a library book. He mixed the ingredients on the stove and in his kitchen, and it filled up with smoke. His mixture burned a chair. Lonnie's parents told him he had to keep the experiments outside. He later used that rocket fuel to launch a rocket for a school project. The school Lonnie went to was segregated.
But what does segregated mean? Segregated means separated. Lonnie's school was separated based on the color of people's skin. Lonnie went to a school with only Black people, and they could not go to school with white kids. At his school, Lonnie was nicknamed the Professor because of all the experimenting he did. In 1968, Lonnie was the only Black student to compete in a science fair at the University of Alabama. He made a robot called Linux out of pieces from the junkyard. The robot won the science fair, but the people at the science fair were not very welcoming to Lonnie. Lonnie took a science club test which told him he would not be a good engineer. An engineer is someone who uses math and science to figure out the world and discover or build things to make our lives better. Lonnie did not listen to this test, and he went to college for mechanical engineering. This type of engineering is for people who design and make machines. He also studied nuclear engineering. This type of engineering is people who work with nuclear energy or weapons.
Lonnie worked as a researcher at a laboratory before he joined the U.S. Air Force, just like his dad did. He became the chief of the Space Nuclear Power Safety Section. Then he worked for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA. You might be wondering, well, what is NASA? NASA is the department that researches space and sends rockets and other objects into outer space. He worked on projects studying the planets, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and at home he invented things. At night while his family slept, Lonnie worked in his basement. While he was trying to build a heat pump, he made a surprising discovery. When he attached the nozzle to his bathroom sink and turned on the water, a stream of water shot out. He realized he could use this idea to create a toy. He made the first version of the toy out of a PVC pipe, a plastic Coke bottle, and plexiglass. He gave it to his 6-year-old daughter for testing. She and her friends loved the toy. He decided to get this toy made so that he could make money for other inventions. He wrote letters to over 75 toy companies to get them to make his toy, but he had bad luck. Most of the companies did not answer his letters. Those who did told him no. Then Lonnie went to a toy fair in New York City. He showed his guns to Al Davis, a man from the company AAMI. Al Davis invited Lonnie to show the toy to his company. The people in charge at AAMI loved the toy. In 1989, the Super Soaker water gun was licensed to AAMI Corporation. After 2 years, the toy had earned $200 million. It was the #1 selling toy in the United States. And now it has earned up to $1 billion.
What do you think Lonnie did with all the money he earned from the Super Soaker? He used his money to do more research and inventing. He moved out of his basement into a research lab he created in Atlanta. He called it Johnson Research and Development Co., Inc. He also made 3 other companies. One is trying to make super small rechargeable batteries that are better for the Earth. Lonnie is focused on making clean energy to help the planet. He also now has over 137 patents. This means he has invented over 137 things. One of these inventions is a wet diaper detector. Another is a hair drying roller. In 2000, only 6% of patent applications came from Black people. This means Lonnie Johnson continues to fight against the odds. He did not give up despite segregation, tests that told him he could not be an engineer, and toy companies who told him no. He has left his mark on the toy industry and science.
Okay, everyone. Today's activity and adventure is going to be a water fight in your backyard or somewhere where you can run around and get wet. That you can, be with your family and friends and do a little activity. So you may already have a super soaker or other water guns or water balloons or other water toys that you can use. But today we're going to show you a quick little do-it-yourself water sprayer using a disposable water bottle. So with some parental help or just help of an adult, you are going to need a disposable water bottle and a small sharp object like a thumbtack that you can use to poke holes in the cap with. So once again, with parental help or adult supervision, help them please poke some holes in the cap of your water bottle with this sharp thing. Just like this. Yeah. And then you can use this full of water to spray in your water fight. Just a quick little thing in case you don't have a water gun or any other water tool you can use.
Lonnie Johnson's Super Soaker is able to shoot water so far and so strongly because of the buildup of pressure in the water chamber caused by pumping in a lot of air. This DIY sprayer, of course, cannot spray water as far or as strongly as a Super Soaker because there is less pressure in the bottle, but it still operates by applying pressure to the water inside the bottle by squeezing in order to shoot out water out of the holes you created in the cap.
So before we have our water fight outside, we need to follow some rules, so please listen carefully. Rule number 1 is no splashing or spraying anyone who does not want to get wet. This includes anyone who is not wearing a swimsuit and anyone who is telling you to stop. You need to listen to them and respect them. We are also asking you to not shoot or spray anyone in the head or face. We do not want to injure each other. Be careful when you run. Rule number 2, be careful when you run because wet grass can get very slippery during water fights, and we don't want you to get hurt. So pay attention to your feet and listen to any instructions from your guardian or supervising adult for where it is safe to play. So those are just some rules to follow for this water fight. And thank you for coming on this history adventure with us. We hope you have a fun water fight with this DIY water shooter. And we'll see you next week for an ice cream making adventure to celebrate George Washington Carver. Bye!